Fulwood. This is 7 News.
Good evening. Tonight, Steve Fossett is back on terra firma after successfully landing his balloon in the Queensland outback. He's had 6 goes at it, and now the billionaire adventurer finally holds the solo round-the-world record.
After 14 days and 20 hours, the spirit of freedom came back to Earth reluctantly. The wind too strong, the deflation system unresponsive. The balloon bounced along until human muscle finally brought it to a stop. These images captured by 7 News cameraman Frank Marici, who caught up with Steve Fossett moments later.
Congratulations. How do you feel? Very relieved.
And on a high.
Would you do it all again? I suppose, but I don't have to. I've done it.
For a hard-earned thirst, he turned to his American sponsor.
This Bud Light's for you. There you go.
Fossett described his last night in the balloon as scary, forced to deal with rough winds and naked flames.
One of the fittings came loose and started spewing propane flames everywhere.
His 6th attempt at the record began in the West Australian town of Northam. From there, he kept to the bottom end of the globe, crossing Australia, New Zealand, the South Pacific, South America, Southern Africa and the Indian Ocean.
Joe? What are you doing? Hi, this is Steve.
Steve Fossett phoned home and Mission Control called a press conference.
Looks like you finally learned how to land a balloon.
Well, in fact, this is one of the worst, most difficult landings I've ever had.
A much smoother landing a few hours later in Sydney. Clutching the boomerang which he'd carried around the world, Fossett told the world's media he's not just a rich man wasting his money.
I hope that it sets some example, not that people will try to ballooning, but that they will try something that fits their personal lifestyle and make their own personal achievements.
His next personal achievement is a joint project with NASA to fly a glider into the stratosphere over New Zealand. It happens next month. Phil Black, 7 News.
The former Foreign Minister Gareth Evans has admitted he lied to Parliament about his affair with Democrat-turned-Labor MP Cheryl Kernot. Ms Kernot has been criticised for leaving their relationship out of her just-released autobiography.
4 years ago, Gareth Evans stood before the Parliament and swore he was not having an affair with Cheryl Kernot. But now under pressure, he admits that was all a lie. In a short statement from London, Mr Evans says, "I deeply regret all the hurt my actions have caused, above all to my own family. It was precisely to try to avoid that and protect my marriage that I said what I did in Parliament." Earlier, and also from London, opposition leader Simon Crean had urged the 2 former frontbenchers to come clean.
There is no justification for misleading the public or the Parliament.
Now the ethics of reporters are under scrutiny. 80% of talkback callers believe the affair should have remained private, a view shared by many politicians.
It's not something that was justified, and I think it's caused, obviously immense personal anguish in a way that nobody should have to cop.
It's none of my business, and it's none of yours.
I have no comment to make on it of any description.
It's about time the media stopped treating national political life like some sort of episode of Days of Our Lives.
Cheryl Kernot was in the middle of her book tour when the scandal broke. She's now gone to ground. Her publisher says Ms Kernot was shocked but not surprised the affair had become public and has been in contact with her estranged husband. Gareth Evans says he now wants to rebuild his family. In Canberra, Joanna Ball, 7 News.
2 Australians have been killed in a plane crash in Portugal. They'd just taken off from an airport in Sintra, north of Lisbon, bound for Oporto, when the pilot reported bad weather. Rescuers later found the wreckage of the Piper Saratoga. An American and British pilot were also killed. Prime Minister John Howard has cancelled a planned visit to the Greek city of Piraeus amid fears for his safety. It follows a series of terrorist bombings in the busy tourist port. However, Mr Howard still plans to meet Olympic Games organisers in Athens. He's flown there from Germany, where he took a first-hand look at our latest military purchase, a Euro Tiger helicopter. The 22 armed reconnaissance choppers will be delivered by 2008 at a cost of $1.2 billion. They'll be based in Darwin. The United States is celebrating Independence Day today under the tightest security ever. Combat fighter jets are on patrol over the big cities, and fences have been set up to herd crowds through metal detectors.
The President of the United States would encourage the American people to gather, to celebrate, to enjoy America's independence. The law enforcement community of the United States will do the worrying.
The FBI is also warning that people with links to terrorism have been downloading images of stadiums from the internet. And the stepson of Iraqi President Saddam Hussein has been arrested after trying to take flying lessons in the United States. Mohammed Safi was preparing to do a course at the same aviation school in Miami where some of the September 11 terrorists trained. The 36-year-old was charged with immigration offences. Escapees from Woomera have appeared in an Adelaide court and they've been ordered back to the detention centre to await trial. They appeared in a number of small groups. Some of those recaptured already faced charges of breaking out on 2 previous occasions. And the Irish national charged with helping them escape has faced Port Augusta court. 22-year-old Jonathan O'Shea, 22, yes, he was allegedly recorded on video as he pried open the bars. He was refused bail. 2 Australians have taken part in a dangerous dive with sharks, all caught on tape. Their close encounter with great white pointers happened off the South African coast.
By choice, they've stared fear in the mouth, a rare breed of diver taking the plunge with killer white sharks. While swimmers and surfers avoid these deadly predators, Melbourne's Rob Torelli and the Gold Coast Mark Priest have pursued them all the way to the South African coast, getting as up close and personal as it gets.
You just have to sort of worry about keeping your hands out of the shark's mouth, basically. If you keep it up on its nose and lift it, you're pretty right.
And the budding filmmakers continually push the limits, swimming with a frightening array, some friendlier than others.
Tiger sharks, great hammerheads, grey reefs, whalers, bronze whalers.
Without cages for protection, the duo swim alongside a burly mixture of whale liver, skillfully avoiding becoming lunch.
They're looking for something dead. They're just coming and they've seen the boat. It's unnatural for them. They've come up a burley trail. Normally you're going to find a dead seal or a dead animal. And all of a sudden they've seen a boat and they see us. So it sort of catches them off guard a bit.
The next adventure is with humpback whales at Tonga. Claire Brady, 7 News.
No, thank you. Now to AFL, and controversial Melbourne forward David Schwartz has quit. His 173-game career was dogged by knee injuries and penalties for his behaviour on and off the field. He was even suspended from his final game for the Demons last Friday night. Schwartz says he has lost his passion for AFL and he's left in fairness to his teammates. And a man has been arrested at Wimbledon for allegedly stalking the American tennis star Serena Williams. Meanwhile, the last Aussie on court, Lleyton Hewitt, is on target for a semi-final berth as he takes on the Dutchman Sheng Schaulken.
After yesterday's frustrating rain delays, Lleyton Hewitt was itching to get down to business, throwing himself into his quarter-final encounter. He'd already beaten Schaulken twice in the past month in the French Open and the semi-finals at Queen's. He was primed for yet another Dutch demolition. Hewitt capitalising on an early break to take the opening set 6-2 in less than half an hour on a Schaulken double fault. In the second set, the 18th seed was completely overwhelmed by Hewitt's firepower, the Aussie again winning at 6-2. Schaulken's fighting spirit then came to the fore. He saved 11 break points and 4 match points to push the third set to a tie-break. Lisa Dalton, 7 News.
Now we'll check tomorrow's weather, and it'll be sunny and 21 degrees for Brisbane. Sunny also in Sydney and 19. Cloudy for Canberra, showers about in Melbourne, quite cool, and in Hobart, 14 in Adelaide, a cloudy 19 in Perth, and I don't need to tell you, 30 degrees in Darwin. And just before we go, some rare space fireworks just in time for America's Independence Day. NASA's Hubble telescope has caught a massive star exploding. The picture shows glowing gas bursting across space in streams of red, white, blue, green and pink. NASA says it's one of the biggest supernovas ever recorded. And that's all we have from the 7 Newsroom for this evening. I'm Anne Fulwood. I'll see you here tomorrow. Good night.